They can hear me.
Yeah.
They can hear
Yeah.
you. Yippee.
Ah,
I have to adjust
damn.
Sav's volume.
This shit kind of bright.
Okay. Hello. Hi. Enjoy your luck, Greth. Thank you so much for hanging out. I need to adjust my ad settings. I really
Shubub,
do.
dubub.
Zap, remind me to adjust my ad settings after stream.
Hey, Cosmo, adjust your ad settings after stream.
Whatever, man. Whatever, man. Do you ever like?
Alright. What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs who lays on the floor? Matt.
What just happened? What just happened? What just happened?
GPS.
What just happened?
There's a whole ass cartoon character.
Who the fuck is Nat?
He said Matt, Cosmo, like a floor mat.
Oh. And now he's on. Now he's in the chat resubbing. Is he back?
There's a whole ass cartoon character.
I said Matt, bro.
I heard Nat. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
No. See, Cappy got me.
Man, whatever,
When
man.
nobody got me, Cappy got me.
Whatever, man.
I do that.
I do that.
Oh, your Fugis are
When
not
they
on the
don't do that,
screens.
I
I'm
do
talking
that.
to the voices in my head. I hear voices in my head. They count to me. They understand. They talk to me. They talk to me. Okay, I'll stop.
Uh-huh.
What do you know about Randy Orton, the Viper, the Legend Killer?
I'm lagging.
Hello, my chat. Welcome back to another Cosmos stream. I know I streamed yesterday, but you know, it's like been too short of a time since I've last streamed, you know? Like we just ended stream 5 minutes ago. Oh my gosh, this is actually too cold. I was like hot 2 seconds ago, then I turned my fan on and now I'm like cold as fuck. But yes, hi, hello. If you are new here, my name is Cosmo and I'm your friendly local interdimensional space witch. I haven't streamed in damn, these cubes of ice melted fast as fuck. I am your friendly local interdimensional space witch. I haven't streamed in 13 days because I have a job.
Imagine having a job. Couldn't
You
be
could
me.
get one, little man.
Couldn't be me. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. I'm trying.
Today we're going to be reading Creepers. If you are in my Discord server, which if you're not, why not? You should join. It's pretty fun. We talk about a lot of nonsense. This piece of salt is really salty.
Wow, it's almost like it's salt. What do you call a man with leaves in his hair? Russell.
Bro. I'm telling you, he's a whole ass cartoon character, bro.
But 1 second. Hi, Tony. I hear the ice cream truck. Plot twist, it's the middle of winter.
Oh my god, I'm lagging out so bad.
How are you today, Tony?
Tony.
I think we really need to like watch RuPaul Drag Race All Stars 10. Cappy, read the sentence that Zaf said.
What did Zeph say? Let me see. I ain't in your stream.
What the hell?
Hello?
Hello. All
Okay,
Star
just okay.
Season 10, Tony. All Star Season 10. I want to watch Lydia. I'm scared. I think she's still in it. I'm scared. I've been like avoiding like elimination spoilers like hot. You and Jacob, man. I don't know. I like been seeing clips of Chapel Roan being on it, and she looks so good. She looks so good. Look, it's my Bible, okay? um. Oh, Cappy. Zaf said, "Mama, can I have $10 for the ice cream man, please?"
Huh?
I don't
Mama,
think.
can I have $10 for ice cream?
When you went, huh? It reminded me. Have you guys seen that video on Instagram Reels? It's like the little Asian boy. He's getting interviewed, and she says like a phrase to him the first time he goes, "Huh?" And she says it again, and so he like pauses, goes, "Huh?" He like smirks, whole ass like smirks, looks to the side a little, smirks, and then he goes, "Huh?" And she says it again, and then he pulls out like a toy gun and points it at her.
Oh my god. Things are never resolved with violence.
I'm sorry, Zaf. Next time you'll get ice cream. Blame Cappy.
What do you mean blame me?
Blame Cappy.
What did I do?
You prevented Zaf from getting ice cream.
I didn't do nothing. That's a you problem.
That's a you problem.
That's a you problem.
But yes. Oh, yes. So, some life updates. Yippee for everyone in here. If you've been keeping up with my blind box collecting numbers, we have officially completed the 100 blind boxes. I now have 102 blind boxes ready to be unopened. Open, not unopened. My stupid ass. Ready to be unopened. No!
100-pack boxing.
Sealing them back up. Open. They're ready to be open. So we have 102, and I think we have. I don't know how many Pokemon cards we have. Maybe 90 something. I think the last time we counted it was 82. I don't remember. So I finally got that together. The date for said blind box stream, yes, I have finally picked a date. It is June 21st at 3:30 CST? I can't remember what time I chose. It's either 3:30 or 4:30. It's 3:30. Because we'll probably like sit and like giggle for like an hour on that, because we're not gonna get to opening the blind boxes immediately. You know, we always have to kiki a little. So that it also gives time for people to appear. So that is like 1:30 p.m. CST, 4:30 p.m. Did I EST? But it's on Saturday, so like we probably won't get into the blind box opening immediately, as it'll probably be like an hour or so of talking and yapping and waiting for people to gather in. But I have worked on, so in between cleaning, because I sat down and cleaned for hours today and I did not get that much done. I like filled up a bag of garbage. And not just like regular trash, that's like me actively trying to throw out stuff. So it's like, I know I throw out a couple articles of clothing that I didn't think would be right to donate. Anyway, I did a bag of garbage and I filled up a bag of clothes to go be donated. So there's like a big gap in my closet right now, and so that was done. But I made wheels. So what we're going to do for the blind box stream is I have wheels. So I'm going to spin a wheel for the Pokemon card packs, because for the stream, I'm also opening Pokemon cards on top of the blind boxes as a little added bonus fun for my community, because we are big Pokemon fans here. And like, not just for the Pokemon card hype, I am a big Pokemon fan. I think I have a whole emote. Oh, I don't have the Snivy emote on my channel. I have to put that in there, but I'm a big Unova fan. I have a Life Size Snivy plush I want to get. I feel like I always have to put this disclaimer on there when I talk about like the Pokemon cards, because of the state of the hobby. Like, I am an actual collector, an actual Pokemon fan. Been a Pokemon fan forever. But yeah, I really want to get my hands on Black Bolt and White Flare, because that set, Snivy, Servine, and Serperior are going to get their own each full arts, and I am so excited for that. I have almost all of the full art Superior cards. I am currently missing Rainbow Superior V-Star from the Silver Tempest line. I recently got my hands on the gold one. So, anyway. But yes, I made the wheels. I put down like the name of the Pokemon card packs, and then I'm currently working on like the names of the blind boxes. So like, I don't know how I want it to work. I also want to add redeems for that stream. I need to start advertising it anywhere, but yeah. So if you're into blind boxes. Oh, and if anybody was wondering, there will not be any Labubu's, because I hate Labubu's. Cappy, do you know what a Labubu is?
I do not know what a Labubu is.
You don't know what a Labubu is? Oh my god,
I
bless
don't think
this
so.
child. Okay. I won't rat your mind.
I am but the poor Brazilian child.
I'm but a poor boy from a poor family. He's just
Yeah.
a poor boy from a poor family. Cappy Moosh, will you do the fandango?
Didn't even sing it right.
Whatever, bro.
Uh-huh. It's clean, man. It's
Where's
just
Jeff?
it's
Will Jeff come
history.
back? He's back.
Open lightning, very, very frightening me.
Galileo.
Oh no, it's Capileo. Come
Oh.
on, man.
I didn't know you were doing my version. My fault.
And what did you think, bro?
I don't know, man. I didn't even know there
What does
was
a
a
dad
version
call
for
his
you.
daughter with no legs?
I'm gonna
Peggy.
ban you. I'm going to ban him. I'm gonna ban him. I'm gonna
Server mute him.
I should. That'd be funny. He gonna He ain't get mad at me. He gonna be like, "Fuck you, Cosmo," and then shoot me.
He's the class clown, man. He's the class clown.
But yes, so today our goal is sips and spooks. I will be sipping on a drink. While I read, while I read a book called Creepers. It is a Goosebumps. Yes, that. I don't want to call it a Goosebumps ripoff because for all we know, it's actually like really good. Who knows? But it's like, it's supposed to be like Goosebumps. I went to the dollar store and sometimes I like looking in the book section because sometimes they have some interesting books. I got a book about like, I want to say ghosts, but I don't know. I read a book that was like about sleep terrors and ghosts and stuff. So I went there and they had a bunch of these books called Creepers. And Goosebumps is a big thing on the channel. What are we? YouTube? In my community. So last time I read was Goosebumps short stories from the book called How to Give You Goosebumps. No. 14 blank to give you goosebumps. Tales to give you goosebumps. And so Creepers. No! 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 I like how your name is also Mobs. Very, very appealing joke. And your color on stream being creeper green. Very.
Yeah.
But hello, Mobs. Thank you so much for the first time chat, even if it was a Minecraft joke. My name is Cosmo. Thank you so much for popping in today. I hope you're having a lovely day. And I hope you stay around. Enjoy some creepers with us. Minecraft mention. Cappy, if you say the forbidden word, you'll get shot. He's getting shot. He's getting shot. Get
Cosmo.
hold on. Shut up. I
Cosmo.
can't. Okay, hold on. Let me server mute you first. I can't like mute him.
You're lucky I'm lagging so much right now.
How do I... Oh, there you go. Oh, you know what I could do? I could do this. Anyway, so so the book, so I was at the dollar store. These books are called Creepers. Unfortunately, they didn't have the full series, but they had books 6 through 10. So we are missing 1 through 5. But so the book number 6, so they're called, so the title says stranger things are happening in Creepers, and the word Creepers is in like a knockoff Goosebumps font, kind of. It's got like it's drippy. If you know what the Goosebumps logo looks like it's kind of like ooze slime. So it's kind of like that. And book number 6 is called The Gravedigger. Hold on. I said a forbidden word to this girl on Discord that I was getting along with and she blocked me. Oh, interesting. I want to say deserved because I hate that word too. My younger sibling was saying it, and then Cappy was saying it, and I was like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Anyway, just... I should add that to my banned words. That'd be kind of funny. Imagine getting like Your message gets deleted. It's because you said chicken jockey. So book number 6 is called The Grave Digger. And they're by Edgar J. Hyde. And apparently over 4 million copies have been sold of these books worldwide. The back of the book says, "The Price family isn't your average family." Andrew and his kids, Jamie and Paula, have just moved into a house in the middle of a cemetery with their ghoulish friends, a blood-phobic vampire, a vegetarian werewolf, a headless ghost, and an Egyptian mummy. But not even their spooky pals can protect them from the sinister Ebenezer Crim and the Gravedigger's ghosts, who are willing to do whatever it takes to get the Price family to move out of their new home. So, right off the bat, it's got something that Goosebumps books never have. Parents. The parents are always usually like off somewhere doing a backflip or not caring about the children, which is kind of funny. So, a parent being the main protagonist in this is very interesting. But yes, I have not read these books at all because, oh my god, there's reviews from kids in the beginning. That's kind of funny. Because I've been waiting. It's even in like, that's so funny. The chapters and like the chapter titles are also in like the same kind of goosebumpy font. Which is a little funny to me. I know that there's other like Goosebumps imitations out there. Isn't it? Is it Minnesota Chillers? I think, or is it Chillers? Hi, Palutena. How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. You have not been forgotten. So I listened to a Goosebumps podcast because, again, one of my hyperfixations is Goosebumps. Yes, of course. And they've read a couple like Goosebumps imitations. They have not read Creepers, which I wish they have. They wish they would. Because I think it's interesting that these guys are in the dollar store. But, did I just die? What happened? Hello? Or is that Cappy? Did Cappy die? Cappy died. Okay. Cappy's Wi-Fi was going back and forth, so that's why he exploded. But yeah, this interesting that I can tell you the other books. Book number 7 is called The Scarecrow. Book number 8 is called Cold Kisser. Book number 9 is called Dr. Death, and book number 10 is called Mirror Mirror. I don't know if these go past 10 books. I would assume so. But on the back of these covers, as of it only goes up to book 10. So, I mean, I could do my own research, but I haven't gotten that far. So, for all we know, this is going to be, like, really good or as kind of interesting as Goosebumps. Welcome back, Mr. Bara. Are you alive? Wait, yes. If you guys are interested in anthology horror like I am, this is going to be an interesting read. But I don't know, I feel like this one's going to be a little gimmicky. I think this book, to start off on, is going to be interesting because it is very much like the family is friends with a werewolf and a vampire. Ooh, yeah. Like, starting off with immediately, like, spooky, with, as the book says, ghoulish friends right off the bat is kind of interesting. Hello. Mr. Zaff is back. He's doing it again. He's doing it again.
What did it do? Huh?
Your Goosebumps opening music.
Yes.
I don't think it'll take us that long to read these, honestly. But then again, it took us actually... Wait, hold on. Pen pals. What is
My
this?
favorite part of the Goosebumps opening is when the dog barks along with the beat.
I don't know. We'll see how fast this goes. But yes, if you are interested in hearing, hold on, I need to adjust my headphones. These are hurting my head. So if you're interested in the spooks, grab a drink and get ready to listen to my smooth, jazzy voice while we read. Oh my god, he's about to mock me.
All right, guys, my name is Space Kitty Cosmo, and today I'll be reading. And today I'll be reading Creepers for you guys. So go ahead, grab your favorite cocktail. Gals and ghouls, gather round. Can't
What's
fucking do it.
happening here, bro?
Let's put on like a haunted lo-fi playlist. Gothic and
Monster Mash lo-fi beat.
Let's see. Okay, this playlist is 5 hours long. Gothic / horror lo-fi. Let's go.
Oh man.
But yes.
I just came in one more time to say I hope you have a good stream, Space Cat.
Are you going
Hope
to listen to my
everything-
smooth jazzy voice?
Do you want the truth or the
Nah, it's cool.
lie?
It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Alright. It's cool.
Well, you didn't answer me.
No. Carry on. This book also has illustrations, which I think is kind of interesting. Bye, Zaf.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, bye. Bye, Cosmo. Bye, Cappy.
Bye.
You
Mm-hmm.
you guys might want to get that.
Who is it? Okay, here we go.
My leg, yes, still heard that perfectly.
The Gravedigger by Edgar J. Hyde. Also, should I change the stream category to reading, or should I keep it on just chatting?
Put it on reading.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Reading fun.
Exactly.
Off we go. Alrighty. There are... I'm not counting how many chapters that is. Alrighty. Chapter 1. The New House. With every crack of lightning, Jamie's shadow was thrown against the wall. Lightning lit up his room for a split second before it was covered again with the blanket of darkness. Outside, the icy night wind swirled around the graveyard, whistling through the gravestones and running down the old dirt track past the trees to the house at the bottom of the hill. Inside, the house was in total darkness. The storm had knocked out the power a couple of hours ago, leaving Jamie, his younger sister Paula, and his father Andrew fumbling around their new house in the pitch black, falling over unopened boxes and as usual in these circumstances, trying to scare the living daylights out of each other. Jamie stood at the bottom of the long, spiraling staircase that led upstairs to their bedrooms. He could hear someone moving around, squeaking the bare floorboards in his father's room. It must be Dad, he thought. Paula's too light to make that kind of noise. Slowly, he began to climb the stairs looking for Paula. He had an idea where his dad was, but Paula could be hiding anywhere, waiting to pounce. By now, the storm outside was getting worse, As Jamie crept past the window on the landing, another bolt of lightning lit up the staircase, and the tall, dark figure that was creeping up the stairs behind him. Jamie continued to make his way up the stairs, completely unaware of the ghostly intruder. As he reached the top, he paused for a second, peering cautiously around the corner. The door to his father's room was ajar, but not enough for Jamie to see inside. Knowing his family like he did, he knew that someone inside the room was waiting to jump out, screaming and yelling. Then Jamie heard breathing behind him. Quick as a flash, he turned to see, but there was only darkness. The tall, dark figure that had floated behind him on the stairs was gone. The whole house was silent, eerily silent. The creak of the bathroom door shattered the silence, and in a second, Jamie dashed into his little sister's room, leaving the door open a little so that he could still see out. Excuse me. Then he saw it. The tall figure that followed him from downstairs passed through the bathroom door, turned, and made its way along the hall toward him. It was a very tall man dressed in a long black cloak with swept back hair and bright white teeth that shone in the moonlight whenever he passed a window. Before he reached his father's room, the door opened and a familiar face stepped out from behind it. It was Paula. The dark man glided along the hallway toward her. Paula, oblivious to what was over her shoulder, slipped out of the room and tiptoed her way down the hall. Jamie stood watching everything from behind Paula's bedroom door, his heart beating faster and faster. The man came closer and closer. Then suddenly, Paula stopped. Directly across from where Jamie stood was his own bedroom. Paula opened the door as quietly as she could, which was difficult because the door creaked with even the slightest movement, and creeped inside, closing the door behind her. Jamie could hear his heart beating loud in his ears as he watched the dark figure hover outside the door with his long black cloak and dazzling white teeth. Jamie could tell he was a vampire. The vampire waited a few moments before disappearing through the door. What the hell is this lo-fi song?
Yeah.
Disappearing through the door after Paula, Jamie stepped out from behind Paula's door into the hallway, took a deep breath, and prepared to charge. 1, 2, 3. He counted as quick as his legs could carry him. He burst through the door. Ah! He screamed as he ran right into the middle of the room. Whoa! The roar of 6 separate voices came back at him. Jamie spun around. His dad was standing beside Paula, accompanied by a vampire, a mummy, a werewolf, and a man carrying his head under his arm. They were all laughing. Jamie took one look at them and burst out laughing himself. Welcome to the Price family household. The Prices are no ordinary family. Ordinary families are usually scared of ghosts, but ghosts don't scare Jamie, his sister, or his father. In fact, there are certain ghosts who are more than friendly with the Prices. They are part of the family. There's Count Vania? An unusual vampire who hates the sight of blood. There's also Mummy, who has fascinated Jamie and his family late into the night with his tales of ancient Egypt, and who amuses them even more by constantly tripping over his bandages. Then there's Wolfie, the world's only vegetarian vegetarian werewolf, who every time he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror runs screaming from the room. Last but not least, there's Lex Killian, an honorable old gentleman who was a passenger on the Titanic when it sank. Now Lex carries his head under his arms, accidentally spitting out salt water every time he opens his mouth. Together, they are the only 4 ghosts that Jamie, his dad, and sister have not laid to rest. Not just because they're good friends, but because they help Jamie's dad earn a living writing horror novels. It takes more than an ability to see ghosts to be able to write good horror stories. And on the next page is a little illustration of the wolf, the headless ghost, the vampire, and the mummy. And I'm not gonna lie, the vampire looks like Johnny Depp in that vampire movie. Oh my god, what is it called? Johnny Depp, the Johnny Depp vampire movie. Johnny Depp vampire. Dark Shadows. He looks like Johnny Depp in Dark Shadows, which is a little bit funny to me. But it is very interesting to see that there are illustrations on this. In this book.
Show it to us. Show it to us.
I have to take a picture of it with my phone. 1 second. I will post it in the Discord server. Meow. Right, meow. Meow, bitch, meow.
Yeah.
I'm posting it now.
Yippee.
Hold on, it's loading. It's loading. There we go.
Damn, that looks pretty cool.
So if you're not in my Discord server, come check that out.
Oh lord, he's mogging.
Who's mocking the fucking vampire? You're stupid.
He's mogging. Look at his jawline, bro. He doesn't have a dimple. He has a crater. Bro, sucking in his cheeks extra. That's crazy.
You're so funny. Oh man. Okay. Jamie's dad relies on the 4 friendly ghosts to give him all the information he needs about real ghosts and what makes them tick. That's what makes Andrew Price's horror novels so good. In fact, it's the very reason that Jamie's dad bought their new house in the middle of a graveyard. Much to Jamie and Paula's disapproval. Although they're not scared of ghosts. Jamie and Paula. Oh man. Jamie and Paula realized that as soon as their new classmates heard they lived in a graveyard, they would be regarded as either weird or spooky. But of course, their dad is the same as every dad. As soon as he gets something into his head, there is no getting it out again. Oh my god. I look over at stream and I'm dancing. Okay. Whenever Jamie or Paula would tell him about their fears, he would simply smile, wink his eye, and say, "Trust me," which always meant that nothing was going to go as planned. "We nearly had you there, Jamie," said his father I thought that said gleefully. But now everyone was giggling out loud. Some, like Lex Killian, were giggling uncontrollably. "No, you didn't," replied Jamie. "I knew you were all in here. I was just trying to scare all of you first." "Well, you didn't scare me, that's for sure," said Paula. "I think you scared yourself more than anyone." Their dad agreed. "Yeah, Jamie, you didn't scare me either." "What about you, Count Vanya?" Vanya? Vania floated into the middle of the room, still giggling. "Well," he said, "there was no blood involved, so I wasn't the slightest bit scared." "What about you, Mummy?" asked Andrew. "No." "No!" came the muffled shout from Mummy. "It's the funniest thing I've seen in 2,000 years!" Jamie was now getting a little frustrated. He knew he wasn't afraid, but no one else in the room believed him. "You never scared me," he said, trying to convince them. "And Mummy, if that's the funniest thing you've seen in 2,000 years, then you should really get out more often." No sooner had the words left Jamie's mouth than the room was filled with laughter once again. "Yeah, Mummy, you ought to get out more often," shouted Wolfie. "Oh, really?" Mummy retorted. "Why don't you take a look in the mirror?" All around the room, red faces were laughing hysterically. I wish the power went out every night," thought Jamie. "This is so much fun." I have to blow my nose. Good Lord. I wonder if we could, finish this in one sitting. Outside, the wind continued to circle and swirl around the graveyard, and the rain continued to bounce hard off the windows. Inside, Jimmy and the others began making their way downstairs, their faces still red from laughing. Suddenly, another crack of lightning lit up the graveyard to reveal a tall, spooky figure standing under a tree at the end of the driveway. It was Ebenezer Crim, the graveyard gardener. What the fuck is happening in the fucking lo-fi song? I just hear a guy talking. I'm gonna have to change.
Ooh.
He's just yapping on about something. He had been.
Maybe.
Go on, Kippy.
Is it maybe the spooky, scary skeletons?
No.
I wish.
It was Ebenezer Crim, the graveyard gardener. He had been standing in the rain for some time, watching the house, unable to see in because of the power outage. He stood there, not laughing or smiling, just staring, hitting us with the lead paint stare. Chapter 2, Dominoes. I think they're ordering pizza, guys.
I wanna.
With a loud thump, Jamie's dad dropped the book onto the desk, scattering the dust from beneath its pages in every direction. The noise it made echoed off the tall bookshelves, and it could be heard at the other end of the library. "Shh!" said the elderly man sitting at the desk across from them. It wasn't the first time the man had scolded Andrew. In fact, it was the 5th time Andrew had made a clatter. The last time it took an angry-looking librarian to get him to quiet down. "Sorry," offered Andrew, looking around at the other tables to see if anyone else was getting annoyed with him before proceeding to pull his chair noisily across the wooden library floor. "Hi, Supreme. How are you?" Welcome in. You haven't missed much. Just the introductory chapter. We're only on chapter 2, so welcome in. You made it right on time.
Indeedy.
Yeah.
Indubitably.
Jamie and Paula tried hard not to laugh. The best Jamie could do was put his hand in front of his mouth, resulting in a loud pig-like snorting noise, which then resulted in another shush from the man at the other table. Distracted by computer repair stuff? Whoa, Supreme? What's wrong with the computer? Guess we've been live for almost an hour now. I've got like 4 Steam notice from Hibby saying that he's playing Marvel Rivals.
No, Lord. Emin's too far gone.
Oh, how opposite are we? Just a small problem with the SATA data cables not locking into place for various reasons. What is a SATA data? My PC was a pre-built, and at the time I knew nothing about PCs. I plugged everything in and I like turned on my PC and it wasn't connecting to Wi-Fi for some reason. I was like, what the fuck? And they were like the 2 like sticks in a bag, and I was like, is this part of the PC? I couldn't understand what the fuck they were for, so I sent her the picture.
Oh.
I sent the picture to like Velvy, and she was like, that's the fucking Wi-Fi thing. Put it in your PC. I was like, oh, my bad.
Damn. How much you pay for your computer, if you don't mind me asking?
800. Maybe 900.
$800.
900.
$900 for a 4060 Ti.
Is
Not
that
even
bad?
Wi-Fi motherboard. It's yeah.
Well, you have
I
to
suppose
remember my specs, Cappy. I have pretty
yeah.
good specs otherwise.
They're not bad specs, no. They're not bad specs at all. I suppose I'm thinking building it yourself, but you you most definitely wouldn't do it.
What the hell? This capybara plushie has a bald spot. And not even a bald spot, but like, I could see into his body. What happened
What
to
the
him?
hell?
Cappy injured. So, like,
Ow.
the background info. Build-A-Bear has, like, the mini, like, plushies. And I told Cappy, I was like, I'm gonna buy one to represent you. Because Cappy's like, his thing is he's a little baby capybara.
Very small.
So I was like, I'm gonna buy this and it's gonna be you. And now I have a little tiny cappy plushie. That's exactly what it looks like.
Every time I wanna go talk to Cosmo, I have to climb up her leg like Attack on Titan. Wait, no, not Attack on Titan, sorry, Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can hide his little bald spot. Okay. It has
Don't
been
call him
hidden.
bald!
But
Not
yes,
bald!
he is raiding with us. Okay, let's get back into the story. Okay. You two be quiet. You're making too much noise, said Andrew. Us? Be quiet? Paula said incredulously. You're the one who was told to quiet down. Not true, replied her father. I was just having an adult conversation with the librarian. That's what adults do. Yeah, that's right, Paula, added James. Dad was having a mature conversation with the lady. Thank you, Jamie, said his father before he could continue. Jamie interrupted him. And she told him to shut up or get out. It doesn't take much to make Paula laugh, and Jamie's latest remark was no exception, forcing her. Oh my god, I'm going to change this this lo-fi playlist. Because it's like, there's so many, like, words. Not even, like, one off, but it's like a guy reading something, and it's throwing me off.
He's just
YouTube.
a funky little guy.
Like, the other playlist that we had. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Sorry, I clicked YouTube, and a video was playing. So, because it was like, for some reason, the playlist was just the guy absolutely yapping, going on and on about. It sounded like. Ugh, never mind. Spooky lo-fi. Three hours of spooky lo-fi. Coming right on up.
Ooh.
Because I can't with whatever we're listening to. Oh, okay, hold on. I was right. That's what I was doing. Okay, application audio capture. Wait, what am I? Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to. There we go. Now it's not gonna save on the bot. Okay. No, okay, we're good. We're alive. Thank you all for hanging out through the scuff. Okay, here we go. Okay, hold on. I want to adjust the volume. I feel like it's a little too loud. Also. Okay. Here we go. Okay. To giggle out loud and turn heads all over the library, once again bringing another shh. I got another note for him. So say he's playing Marvel Rivals.
Get his ass. Sick
DM him and tell him I said that he's stupid. He's a clown. No, don't tell him I said he's stupid. Say Cosmo said you're a clown.
I'm gonna say Cosmo said you're a stupid clown.
From the other table, yet another apology from her dad. When can we go home? Jamie asked his dad, almost pleading with him. When I've found what I'm looking for, his dad replied sternly. Sorry, hold on. I'm doing something. I have one thing to say to you, Tony. You better. No, I'm kidding. That day might come sooner than you think. I'm mentally ill. But that doesn't mean anything, you know? But that could mean anything. Jamie asked his dad, almost pleading with him. When I've found what I'm looking for, his dad replied sternly. Well, what is it exactly that you're looking for? Asked Paula, trying very hard to sound helpful, but like Jamie, she was also desperate to go home. The addiction is overwhelming. Shut up, Supreme. Listen, man. Okay. I'm looking for something suspicious about our new house. Some record of ghastly encounters or details of a ghostly past, said her father, trying his best to Trying his best to involve him. Thank you, Cappy. Also, guys, there's
problem.
going to be ads going soon. Unfortunately, they're long ads. So I need to fix that. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for the long ads.
Just sing a little tune while we're waiting.
Just sing a little tune.
Yeah.
Cappy is so
Ever heard of
smelly.
that?
He poopies his bed. And when he does a little dance, his poopy gets everywhere. Oh, Cappy.
Yeah, Cosmo? What'd I do to you? I was gonna say do the Portal song, the Portal radio song.
What the
But
hell
never
is
mind.
the Portal radio song?
Give me a second.
What the hell? What the hell?
It's
What the hell?
simply one
What
of
the
the best songs ever
hell,
made.
What the hell? What the hell, y'all?
What the hell, Leonte?
The piano, stage fright, pen pals, the golden goblin, Ghost Rider, the Gravedigger, the Scarecrow, Coldcaster, Dr. Death, and Mirror Mirror. I'm not gonna lie, Mirror Mirror, the book Mirror Mirror in the Creepers franchise sounds like a little bit like one of the Fear Street stories, which is a little bit funny. Which, speaking of Fear Streets, there's a new Fear Street movie out that I need to watch. And if you don't know, Fear Street is like the... One second. The teen to young adult, like, Goosebumps by R.L. Stein. Like, kids actually died in that series. So... which is very interesting. It's nice to see that they're making Fear Street movies. Like, I feel like this is like, and it's anthology, right? Minus the Fear Street trilogy, lovingly called trilogy, which is connected but also not exactly connected. Well, it's connected, right? Same characters, but it has different stories involved going around in them. Unlike the Goosebumps TV series, the new Goosebumps TV series, which I have not watched season 2, nor have I finished season 1, but I'm disappointed in the Goosebumps TV series. It could have been a standalone on its own, spooky things happening to kids. Like, because it takes concepts from Goosebumps and, like, barely uses them to their fullest extent. And it's like, maybe there's like, it just literally takes the concept of the Goosebumps book and slaps it in an episode. And the only thing that they did really well was the Haunted Mask episode. That one was really close to the source material of Goosebumps, of the original Goosebumps tale, which I really like the Haunted Mask episode. They did a good one on that one, but everything else kind of, it was like disappointing. Also, the first one, which is Say Cheese and Die based, they did a good execution on it, interesting. But, did they do a Monster Blood? Was the Monster Blood? I think their execution with some of the Goosebumps characters were just disappointing. And it wasn't Goosebumps. It's not in an anthology format. I mean, each season seems to be its own storyline, which is one thing, but I want each episode, different characters, different storyline, completely different everything. It seems like the art of a good anthology is kind of dead nowadays. Nobody wants to make a good anthology horror, which absolutely sucks because I think Goosebumps in the modern day, if you took... I'm sorry, Tony. I've been forgetting to fix my ads. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'll fix it tonight.
You deserve it, Tony. You deserve it. Get sent to the Shadow Realm.
Shadow Realm. I'm Shadow Realming you. Sorry. I'm just instigating. But
Eagle sound. Sorry.
no, you're good. I feel like the art of a good anthology horror series is just kind of lost now. Because once again, I know I'm repeating myself. I realized where I left off with what I was talking about. Because again, I believe in the current state of where we are with technology. I see you, Cappy, Black Ops 3.
Hell yeah. Haven't played zombies in a while.
You're so funny. I'm trying to find like a little bookmark so I could put in this page. All of my Pokemon like cards disappeared. Okay, hold on, I found one. Okay, so let me explain.
Yippee!
So I genuinely feel like with today, how, oh my god, the state of everything today, like with the state of CGI, with the state of like special effects, Goosebumps has the potential to really thrive and really like reach a new generation of children and bring on even another level of scares, step up the game and bring up an even better level of scares compared to the 90s run, which I love the original Goosebumps series. I've always been one of those kids who one of those people who never believed Goosebumps was scary, but it had a silly, interesting twist. But I'm a big fan of anthology horror as is. I've dipped my toe in a lot of anthology horror series, from Goosebumps to Are You Afraid of the Dark to the most like Goosebumps-esque anthology series, Creeped Out. And R.L. Stein's Haunting Hour. Also, The Twilight Zone is a good classic. I'll jump, Cappy. I'll do it.
I'm kidding. You think the drama queen.
Cappy called you a sissy. Said you can't fight, Tony.
I don't know what Tony's build is like, so I can't really say.
What Tony's build is like?
Yeah, I gotta know if he's a dexterity, if he's strength, intelligence. No.
Tony.
You stupid. There you go.
But yeah, I'm very disappointed in the route they chose to take for the new Goosebumps series. Once I heard that there was a new Goosebumps series in the works, I think I've been following it since 2020, like early 2020s. I know in fact that modern CGI special effects look worse than older pre-CGI realistic special effects with set props and makeup. But it's not meant to be. I don't know what you define as realistic, because I don't know. But yeah, I'm just really sad with the way because I've been following this new current Goosebumps project for a year, since it was like just in talk, and I was keeping an eye out for people talking about its release, from people talking about like the leaked episode list, and then from people talking about, oh, it's not going to be an anthology, it's going to be following around a group of kids, blah, blah, blah. And I was very disappointed then. Uncanny realism, but more neuron activation than CGI. Interesting. And I was very disappointed to hear that it was not going to be an anthology horror. If they were going to do this, like, it's based around a group of kids. They should have followed the Horrorland storyline concept, which Goosebumps Horrorline and Horrorland, not Horrorline, Horrorland. So to like bring you all the way to the beginning. Hello, Ashley. Welcome in. Let's drop this to just chat really quick, since I'm not reading at the moment. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Cosmo voice acting in Goosebumps upcoming show win, but it's not. I would be acting. I don't know. That'd be funny. But I'm out here actively saying I'm not the biggest fan of the series. So Horrorland was one of the original Goosebumps books that came out in like the 90s. Goosebumps Horrorland, it revolves a family that goes to a theme park, and it is like weird. It is filled with these creatures called horrors, these monsters, and the family's like, whoa, like the costuming goes so hard, blah blah blah. And like it's like the rides and stuff are like kind of insane. The lazy river is like them laying in a coffin, blah blah blah. But so late 2010s they released the Goosebumps. Don't quote me on the dates because I'm fuzzy. They released the Goosebumps Horrorland book series, which I think the first 10 books were their own story and everything. Each ending off with the kids getting a ticket to Horrorland in the mail, and they're like, what the fuck is Horrorland? Okay, I guess we'll go. After they like defeat their horror of choice, they're defeating their bad guy. And once all these kids come together, they all realize that every other kid that they met have also faced a big bad. Like, they brought back Slappy, they brought back Monster Blood, they added some new characters like Dr. Maniac. So, and then they all have to like band together to like figure out how to leave Horrorland. And during this time, there was a website off of Scholastic called Horrorland, where it was a bunch of mini games. You were roaming around Horrorland, and I think you yourself would have to escape Horrorland yourself. The physical books themselves would all connect to each other, like physically. If you had all the books, you could connect them to each other, and it would make a map of Horrorland, like an actual map of Horrorland. Which what you saw on the Scholastic website. That website no longer exists, unfortunately. I remember being on that website because obviously I'm a Goosebumps fan. Are we really surprised? That series ended off with Escape to Panic Park, which is another park, blah blah blah. And then Goosebumps Horrorland, that series spawned off a different one. It was a different one. I think it was Goosebumps. I don't know if it's Goosebumps Horrorland, but it's... Oh, I'm trying to think. There's another series that came after Horrorland, but it wasn't... It was a tie-in to Horrorland, the park itself. And so, anyway. But, like, if they, in this TV series, if they wanted to do, like, a bunch of kids come together, they could have done the I keep saying Horrorland concept, where each episode is its own, character, which in season 1 of the Goosebumps 2024 TV series, they do, one of the last episodes, I think, is titled Horrorland. Jesus, I got another note from him. He's playing Marvel Rivals. Is he suffering? What is happening? But yeah, I think one of the episodes of the 2024 Goosebumps series is called Welcome to Horrorland itself. So that it's interesting, whatever. But like, They could have just done the Horrorland concept in the way that it was written in the books, in which every episode, different characters, different setting, whatever. But they didn't, and they chose to, like, I think the TV series could have, if you took the quote-unquote Goosebumps aspect out of it and replaced it with some, like, generalized little horror thing that happens to each kid, it could have been fine. It didn't need the Goosebumps name behind it if they weren't going to do Goosebumps and everything that Goosebumps is. But yeah, I mean, R.L. Stine signed off on it, so, and it's available on Disney Plus, which is one thing that I find interesting about it being on Disney Plus, Disney having a hand in it. I remember the Goosebumps podcast that I listened to, they made a joke in one of the early episodes that R.L. Stine would never sell out to Disney, and not too long after me listening to that episode, the Goosebumps series being on Disney Plus announcement came out, and I was like, this is kind of funny. But that's my little tidbit rant here and there. What the hell? What the hell is that emo? It loaded onto my OBS before it loaded onto Twitch. But yes. That is my little gab about the Goosebumps TV series. We are now going to get back into something that is not Goosebumps, almost like Goosebumps, called Creepers. Off we go. Oh, I just lost my place. Holy biscuits. I just lost the page we're on. Hold on. Oh man, hold on. Okay, I found it. Now Paula was beginning to pay more attention. Exactly, creepity creep. Do you think there could be dead bodies buried at our house? Gee, let me think, answered Jamie. We live in a house in the middle of a graveyard. You know, Paula, I think you could be right. I think if we look hard enough, we might find some dead bodies buried somewhere. Paula hated it when Jamie made her look silly. It was something Jamie liked to do to his little sister at every opportunity. Jamie, stop poking fun at your sister, his father said. Do something useful and start looking. Start looking through those old newspaper clippings. Jamie really didn't want to, but in the end decided to help, if only to get home quicker. The hours passed with Jamie, his father, and his sister searching through history books, flicking through newspaper clippings, and looking into the history of some of the people buried in the graveyard. But it was all for nothing. No horrific history, no ghastly past, no tales of ghosts or anything being haunted. Nothing. Aww. Oops. Jamie's father slammed the final history book closed, forcing dust from beneath its coverage straight up his nose. He tried hard to contain a sneeze that somehow managed to squeeze between both his hands and out into the cold air of the library. Jamie and Paula were both sleeping with their heads on the desk, having given up on finding anything remotely spooky. Jamie, wake up, his father, trying hard to shout a whisper. Jamie raised his head from his desk. His hair was flat on one side of his head, and his eyes barely opened as he whispered back. What is it? What did you find? Nothing, replied his father, but it's time to go home. They're closing the library for the night. Jamie gave Paula a shake to wake her up, but Paula was so exhausted she hardly felt a thing. Instead, she just rolled her head to the other side, making a loud grunting noise as Jamie continued to shake and pull her hair. Eventually, he managed to wake her up by slamming an encyclopedia onto the desk just inches from her head. Holy shit. Tony now playing Marvel Rivals. Is everybody just gonna play Marvel Rivals today? Go on, Cappy. You know what to do.
1,000 curses, 1,000 curses upon you, 1,000
What the
curses on
fuck? I didn't mean it like that.
you. You said you know what to do. I know
I
what to
meant for
do.
you to open Marvel Rivals.
I don't have that game downloaded anymore.
That's so funny, Cappy.
I told you. After you left, basically everybody stopped playing.
Damn, Tony.
So I
Cappy
couldn't
just
play
said
no
you're
more. So I
nobody.
couldn't play no more.
Cappy just called you nobody, Tony.
I didn't say all of that, but Tony just does his own thing. Tony also plays League, so you know. I love you, Tony. You're so cool.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get back to reading. I'm waiting for both of you. Everybody making their Marvel Rivals return. Okay, here we go. As they made their way to the exit, the librarian was already holding the door open, waiting for them to leave. Thank you, said Andrew as they passed through the doorway. You're welcome, replied the librarian, obviously glad to see Jamie and his family leaving. Will you be back tomorrow? She asked politely. No. I think we managed to look at everything we needed to, said Andrew, holding the door open for Jamie and Paula. As they walked out into the cold night air, Jamie remembered that it had been daylight when they went into the library, and how his father had claimed that it wouldn't take him long. Jamie looked at his watch and realized that was nearly 6 hours ago. The house looked spooky enough during the day, but at night it looked even scarier. As Jamie's dad drove into the driveway, the wind seemed to get stronger and blow the leaves that had fallen from the trees high into the air. Paula zipped up her jacket, and prepared to get out of the car and stepped into the freezing wind that was howling and whistling all around them. Jamie looked up at the leaves that were blowing wildly into the dark night sky. Even the trees looked evil, he thought, as he jumped out of the car and ran to the front of the house. The door creaked open, loud and slow, and one by one Jamie, her sister, and his father emerged from behind it into the hallway of the house. As their dad pushed the door closed, some leaves blew inside and came to rest in front of Paula's feet. Oh my gosh. You two go upstairs and get into your pajamas. I'll make some hot chocolate, said their dad. Jamie and Paula had just begun to climb the long, spiraling staircase when they heard their father shout to them from the kitchen. Jamie, Paula, come here for a second. What now? Muttered Paula as she and Jamie turned and made their way back downstairs. In the kitchen, Count Vanya, Mummy, Wolfie, and Lex sat around the table. Jamie had seen this before. It meant it was conference time. Either they had already done something or they were about to. It didn't take long to find out it was the former. We didn't mean any harm, exclaimed Count Vanya. We were just having some fun. It's true, continued Lex Killian. We were just playing a game. It was an accident. What exactly happened? Asked Andrew. Well, do you know how to play the game Leapfrog? Asked Wolfie. Of course, said Paula. Well, it was kind of like that, only we were jumping over each other. So what exactly were you jumping over? Questioned Jamie. Gravestones came to... Oh, wait, hold on. Hit me again in the Steam new riffs. Gravestones! Came a muffled answer from Mummy. Gravestones! Yelled Andrew. What were you thinking? Wolfie started to get upset. It was his fault, he said, pointing to Mummy. We were all having fun until Clumsy Clogs tried it and fell over his bandages straight into one. Well, if you knocked one over, I guess I'll have to be the one that picks it up, Andrew said angrily. Well, it wasn't just one, count, Vanya interrupted. So how many was it? Jamie asked. I I think the final figure was somewhere in the region of 23, stuttered Lex. How on earth did you manage to knock over 23 gravestones? Yelled Andrew. It was a bit like when you put lots of dominoes close together in a line and then push one over. Oh, hold on. It was a bit like when you put lots of dominoes close together in a line and then push one over, muttered Mummy sheepishly. Did anyone see you? Paula asked. The four of them looked at each other with blank expressions. The truth was, none of them noticed if they were being watched, so they couldn't be sure. I think the four of you should keep a very low profile for the next couple of days, bellowed Andrew. Don't you? Yes, came their murmured, half-hearted replies. And I think you should start right now, said Andrew. One by one, they stood up from the table and disappeared through the wall, apologizing as they went. Jamie looked at Paula. It's been a long day, he said. Yep, Paula replied, and I've got a funny feeling we haven't heard the last of this. Chapter 3. Accused. The events of the previous night did not pass unnoticed the next day. Everyone in the house seemed to be on edge, as though they were expecting something to happen. The four culprits hadn't shown their faces around the house, obviously keeping a low profile as requested. Jamie was in the living room watching TV, and his dad was in the kitchen standing over a sink full of dirty breakfast dishes. He seemed a million miles away as he stood, gazing out the window with a strange look on his face. By the sounds of things, Paula was upstairs practicing her dance routines. The loud banging and thumping of her dancing around the room could be heard in every room downstairs. Jamie stood up and walked to the window. Outside it was a gray day with no real hint of sunshine breaking through the dark clouds that seemed to hang over the graveyard. Every time Jamie looked out the window, he got the feeling that somewhere out among the moss-covered headstones and dark overhanging trees, someone was watching him. Great, thought Jamie. Even during the day, this place gives me the creeps. As he turned and walked away from the window, the sound of the doorbell echoed throughout the house. Even Paula heard it over the thumping of her music. That's weird, thought Jamie. To get to the front door, you have to walk past the window. I was just standing there and never saw anyone come through the gate. And we have an illustration, almost, on the next page. Could someone get the door, please? Yelled Andrew from the kitchen. I'll get it, Paula shouted as she came running down the stairs, 2 at a time. Going down the stairs 2 at a time is such a brave move. I mean, I'll go up the stairs, skipping one, but flying down the stairs like that, I could never. I'm too scared. I have an irrational fear of falling down the stairs, if I'm being honest. Jamie and Paula like to compete with each other at everything. No matter how silly the task was, one of them had to be the quickest or the smartest or the funniest, just to be better than the other one. However, this time, Paula was certainly going to win the race to answer the door because Jamie remained still, not sure of what might be standing on the other side of the door. Hala jumped on the last few stairs and reached the door. I got here first, she said, turning to make sure Jamie heard her. Jamie remained in the living room as Paula heaved open the large wooden front door. A tall, thin man was standing in the doorway. Paula's head was directly in line with the man's waist, and slowly... Now let me take a picture of the image so I can put it in the Discord.
Yippee! Picture!
It is in the general chat, loading. It probably should be up by now, so go take a look.
Oh my god. It's the Hat Man.
The Hat
He's gonna
Man.
make you fun of any Benadryl.
Paula took Benadryl.
Yeah.
Her eyes started to climb upward. The man was wearing chunky black boots that were caked with mud. His black pants were patched at the knee and tucked inside his boots. From what she could see of his sweater, it was dirty and frayed at the bottom, but was difficult to see because the man was wearing a long black coat that reached the top of his knees and smelled awful. As Paula looked up at the stranger's face, it was difficult to see it because he was wearing a black hat that cast a shadow over his face. The man bent down toward Paula, coming close to her face, and she saw that he had a very pale skin, almost ghostly, and a thin, pointy nose with big nostrils. Paula felt a shiver run down her spine. "Is your father here?" he asked Paula with so close to her face she could feel his warm breath on her cheeks, smell his bad breath in her nose, and see the yellow stains on his teeth. Damn, he can count her pores. "Who's at the door?" yelled Andrew from the kitchen. "It's someone for you, Dad," Paula replied, taking a step back from the stranger. Jamie walked to the front door. At the same time, his father walked from the kitchen, drying his hands on a towel before handing it to Jamie to hold on for him. "Allow me to introduce myself," said the man to Andrew. "My name is Ebenezer Crim." Paula looked at Jamie. It was one of the few occasions that Jamie could remember seeing fear in her face. "Nice to meet you. I'm Andrew Price," said Andrew politely. "I'm the gardener for the graveyard," Mr. Crim continued. "How did you reach the front door?" interrupted Jamie. 1 second. "I walked straight up the path and past the window," Mr. Crim said. "You couldn't have," Jamie replied. "Didn't you see me?" Mr. Crim replied. "I saw you." The thought that this strange-looking man had been watching Jamie without him knowing made Jamie's blood run cold. "Would you like to come in for a cup of coffee?" asked Andrew. Jamie looked at his dad in disbelief. What on earth was he doing inviting this man into their home? "I'd love a coffee," Mr. Crim replied. "Jamie, run into the kitchen and get some coffee for Mr. Crim," said his father. Ebenezer Crim stepped inside the hallway, stamping his feet on the rug and knocking off large clumps of dried mud, as Jamie's dad closed the door behind him with a loud thud. As Mr. Crim made his way into the sitting room, Jamie pulled his dad back by the arm. "Dad, I don't know what it is about this man, but something isn't right," he whispered. His father seemed annoyed with him. "Be careful," he said. "Mr. Crim might hear you." "Why did you invite him in?" Jamie asked. "Well, I don't know if you're seeing something. I'm not, but this man seems perfectly nice to me," his father replied. "But he's lying! He never passed the window!" Jamie started to get very frustrated with his father. To him, it was so obvious that Mr. Crim was a strange man. "Jamie, if he didn't pass you at the window, how else could he have walked up to the front door?" his father asked. "I don't know," said Jamie. "That's what's so spooky about him." "I've heard enough," said his father sternly. "There's nothing wrong with Mr. Crim. You hardly..." I have to turn the page. Hold on. You hardly even know the man. But, said Jamie, trying to interrupt. No buts, continued his father. Go and pour Mr. Krim a cup of coffee like I asked. Then come and join the rest of us in the sitting room. Excuse me. Jamie didn't argue. He knew his dad couldn't be talked into agreeing with him. Instead, Jamie headed off to the kitchen to do what his father had asked. A few minutes later, Jamie emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray with coffee for his dad and Mr. Krim, and Mr. Krim, and hot chocolate for him and Paula. Hold on 1 second. What happened here? Whoopsie. Hold on. Okay. As he walked into the living room, he could see his father was sitting on one chair and Paula on the other. Great, he thought. Now I'll have to sit beside Mr. Krim on the couch. Jamie set the tray down on the table and chose the seat on the other end of the couch from Mr. Krim. His dad handed Mr. Krim his coffee. Mr. Krim cleared his throat and began to speak. You know, some people around here say things about me that aren't really true. They spread like rumors. Really? Asked Andrew. Yes, continued Mr. Krim. They only say these things because they don't really know me. It's mainly the kids. They call me spooky or weird. I can't imagine why, said Jamie, trying hard to sound sincere when he really didn't want to. His dad gave him a look that told him to be quiet. Ebenezer Krim seemed to not notice and continued. A lot of the time, the kids say things to hide their own guilt. What do you mean? Asked Andrew. Well, sometimes they'll do something they shouldn't have, something bad, then tell lies about me so that I get the blame and they get out of trouble. Kids, am I right? That's terrible, replied Andrew. I know, which brings me to the reason I'm visiting you. Last night we had a bit of trouble in the graveyard. Jamie and Paula both looked at each other, dreading what Mr. Kim was going to say next. Some headstones were knocked over, he continued. How many? Asked Andrew, trying hard to act as if he didn't know. There were 23 in total, replied Mr. Krim. Where exactly were your kids last night, Mr. Price? He asked suspiciously. My kids? Said Andrew, a little confused by the question. Jamie and Paula were with me. I see you, Supreme. Jamie and Paula were at the library with me all night. And what time did you get home? Mr. Krim continued, looking at Jamie and Paula with his piercing eyes. I really don't like what you're trying to say, Mr. Krim, said Andrew. Neither do I, continued Jamie. Paula remained silent. My kids were with me all night, Andrew went on, and at no time did they leave my sight, so it wasn't them that pushed the headstones over. Ebenezer Krim didn't say anything. There was a long silence that made Jamie, Andrew, and Paula feel very uncomfortable. Mr. Krim just sat there staring at everyone, his eyes moving slowly from Andrew to Paula to Jamie. Eventually, he turned his gaze back to Paula. It was you, wasn't it? He yelled. Paula looked frightened as she sat on the chair, not saying anything. I think you should leave, shouted Andrew to Mr. Krim. We've all heard enough. Mr. Krim appeared to not hear him. His eyes and attention were focused on Paula. You did it for fun, didn't you? He said to her. No, I didn't, replied Paula. And anyways, it was an accident. Jamie winced. Aha! Mr. Krim yelled triumphantly. So you did do it. Paula started to get very angry. Jamie shouted at Mr. Krim, Leave her alone! But again, Mr. Krim ignored him. I told you to leave, said Andrew. Why did you do it? Mr. Krim snarled at Paula. I told you I didn't, she yelled back. Well, who was it then? Your brother? Paula couldn't take it anymore. No, it wasn't Jimmy either. It was the ghost, she shouted at Mr. Krim. The room fell into silence. Ghost? Mr. Krim said with a smirk on his face. Are you trying to tell me evil ghosts knocked the headstones over? They're not bad ghosts. They're good ghosts. And more importantly, they're our friends. Paula, be quiet, Jimmy yelled at her. Mr. Krim looked around the room. The look on their faces made him believe that Paula was telling the truth. I told you to leave, Mr. Krim, Andrew said. Ebenezer Krim did not reply. He stood up, put his cup on the table, and made his way to the front door. As he reached the front door, he turned to Jamie's father. Believe me when I say this, Mr. Price. This is not the last you will hear from me, he said before slamming the door closed behind him. Everyone in the living room sat in silence, thinking about what just happened. Now Ebenezer Krim knew their secret. Andrew looked both at Jamie and Paula and said, We all need to talk. I think this is just the beginning of our trouble with Mr. Krim. Bum bum ba Oh my god, there you go. Chapter 4. Kitchen Table Conference. This is not good, said Count Vanya. There were more than a few concerned faces around the table. They weren't all human. Jamie's father had just filled them in on what happened the day before when Ebenezer Krim paid them a visit. And now the ghosts were beginning to realize just how costly their game of headstone leapfrog might prove to be. As always, when something important needed to be discussed, everyone gathered around the kitchen table. This is all my fault, muttered Mummy, through a face full of raggedy bandages. No, it isn't, said Jamie. It's no one's fault. Accidents happen. Yeah, but if I hadn't let the cat out of the bag, we wouldn't be in this mess, whined Paula. Andrew put a comforting arm around her. Jamie's right, Paula, he said. No one's to blame for any of this. These things happen. We just got to figure out a way to get out of this. Everyone agreed. I think the best plan of action would be to simply seek out this Mr. Krim chap and apologize, said Lex Killian. I think it's too late for that, Jamie replied. Mr. Krim seemed really angry when he left. Andrew agreed. I think Ebenezer Krim wants everyone to know that he wasn't to blame for the headstones being knocked over, said Jamie. So what do we do then? Said Wolfie. Let me one second. I just want to see how far we are. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how many chapters are in this. Okay. I think the only thing we can do is wait and see what happens, replied Andrew. Mr. Krim said it wouldn't be the last we would hear from him. He's found out some information about us, so it's up to him now to decide what he wants to do with it. Paula got up from the table and started pacing the floor. Something was obviously on her mind. What's wrong, Paula? Asked Jamie. I'm just thinking. What if the other kids from my class find out that we hang out with ghosts? They won't want to talk to me. They'll think I'm creepy. They probably think that already, said Jamie. That's not funny, Paula retorted. Sometimes Jamie would make jokes at the wrong time, and this was the wrong time. There's no point in worrying about that, Paula, Andrew said. We don't know what's going to happen. Why don't I go to Mr. Krim's house and scare the living daylights out of him, suggested Wolfie. Because there might be mirrors in his house, and you'll end up more scared than him, replied Count Vanya. Well, we've got to do something, said Jamie. We can't just sit here and wait for him to go tell the police or something. I don't think anyone would believe him anyway, muttered Mummy. Lex Killian tried to say something, but as soon as he opened his mouth, some salt water squirted out straight into Andrew's coffee mug. "Oh, I'm frightfully sorry," he said. Jamie's dad emptied the coffee cup down the sink and smiled. "Forget about it," he said. "I wouldn't be so sure no one will believe him," added Lex Killian. "When you think about it, it does sound a bit odd." "What do you mean?" asked Andrew. "Well, look at it the way other people will look at it. You bought a house in the middle of a graveyard. It's quite a spooky thing to do." The others wanted to disagree, but knew that Lex was right. "And the head of the family writes horror novels for a living," continued Lex. For the first time since they all sat down, the kitchen was silent. Lex had made everyone realize that Mr. Krim could make things really difficult for them in town. "I think the best thing would be for the four of us to find somewhere else to hang around," said Count Vanya. His words seemed very loud in the silence of the kitchen, even though he rarely raised his voice above a whisper. "I think you're right," agreed Wolfie. "If we go now, things might not be so bad with Mr. Krim." "No!" Jamie shouted in a panic. "We don't want you to go. We want you to stay here with us." Jamie hardly ever lost his cool. He wasn't the type that scared easily or panicked. In fact, it took an awful lot to scare Jamie. But the look on his face told everyone at the table that he was scared his ghost friends would leave him for good. "I'm with Jamie on this one," added Andrew. "We've got to stick together. You guys are part of our family, so we want you to stay." "Will you stay?" Paula asked. Slowly, one by one, Count Vanya, Wolfie, Mummy, and Lex Killian nodded their heads. Although they never said it, Jamie could tell they were glad they could stay. "We have to tread it very carefully for the next few days," said Andrew. "So here's what we have to do." Jamie sat forward at the table, as did everyone else, waiting to hear what his father had to say. "For the time being, there will be no more hauntings. Wolfie, if you want a veggie burger, we'll get it for you. Don't go near the store." "No problem," said Wolfie. Andrew continued. Mummy, you'll have to stay away from the ancient Egyptian museum." "But I go there to visit my cousins," he protested. "I know," replied Andrew, "but we can't risk anyone catching a glimpse of you. The same goes for you, Count Vanya and Lex." Count Vanya nodded his head while Lex clasped his head between both his hands and nodded, then placed his head back on the table. As Jamie's dad continued with his instructions to the rest of the family, what the fuck? Ebenezer Krim stood outside watching them. Why is he just... Okay. Long after Count Vanya and the rest of the ghosts had gone, Ebenezer still stood outside the house in the dark. He hadn't moved once. He just stood there in the pouring rain staring into the house. It wasn't until Andrew's bedroom light went off that Mr. Krim turned and walked away. As he trudged through the mud, he turned and whispered, "Tomorrow, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you all pay for what you have done. Just you wait." And with that, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm going to run some ads. Hi,
Ad
Zia.
time.
I'll be right back. Have fun. Don't leave. I'm coming right back. Did I come back on time or ad's still going?
I would not know.
I don't know if that's it. What is happening? There's chords. Chords about. It's been a while. Supreme. The ad's done, but don't worry, Coswell. I'm sorry. That's will end soon. I wish I could be like, there's a purpose for ads being so long. Oh, okay. It's been a while since ads were over. I thought, okay, cool. I thought you were like saying ads are still going. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm alive. Let me lower the music a little. I feel like the music is, excuse me, so loud, but it's not. I'm sorry, Supreme. Okay. Let's get back into our book. We are almost about halfway. Let me like double check how far we are. Oh, hold on. We are actually about halfway in the story. We're halfway through with our story, which is much exciting. Also, hello, Zia. You came as I was going BRB, so I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much for popping in today. Welcome in, welcome in. So now, chat, we are on chapter 5, and it is called The Reporter. So this should be interesting. The office door to the Black Hearth Gazette was thrown open with force, banging the door of the nearby filing cabinet as the unmistakable figure of Ebenezer Crim marched in with his muddy boots and pressed the buzzer on the desk. His eyes scanned every inch of the office, past the old newspaper clippings that were framed on the wall, the pile of newspapers that were tied together on the table, the computers, the printers, the telephones, and eventually stopped on the framed headline that read, "Famous horror writer moves to Black Earth." Enjoy your lick, Zia. Thank you so much for popping in. It was an article from the previous week's newspaper about Andrew Price. Ebenezer's face began to change as he read every word of the article. He could feel the rage inside him ready to erupt. His eyes got visibly smaller the angrier he became. "Can I help you?" said the voice from the other side of the counter. Ebenezer lifted his evil face to look at the man. He could tell that the man was obviously afraid of him. "I'd like to give you some information for a story. My name is Ebenezer Crim." "I know who you are," said the other man. "My name is Mike Phillips. I'm one of the reporters here." Although Phillips had never met or spoken to Ebenezer Crim before, he still knew exactly who he was. There wasn't one person in the whole town of Blackhearth who didn't know who Ebenezer Crim was. "Well, if you're a reporter, then you're just who I'm looking for," Ebenezer replied. "I just read the article in last week's paper about Mr. Price." "Yes, that was a good story for us. It's not every day a famous writer and his family move to Blackhearth," Mr. Phillips interrupted. Ebenezer Crim said nothing. Instead, he tilted his head back so that his eyes were peering at Mr. Phillips from under his hat. He stared down his nose at him and finally said, "Now hear this. I'm not leaving. I'm just cooking. I have my AirPods in. I'm still listening to the stream. I hope you make yummy, 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 nummy, nummy food. Godspeed, yeah?" Aww. The evil look on his face and the way in which he said it sent shivers down Mr. Phillips' spine. "Mr. Andrew Price and the rest of his family aren't as nice as everyone seems to think," Mr. Crim continued. "Oh, really?" replied Mike Phillips, trying hard to appear calm. "What exactly are they?" Ebenezer looked around the office, eventually stopping once again on the article about Andrew Price. "What if I could give you a story that would have everyone in Blackhearth demanding the Price family be thrown out?" "I would say, tell me more," said Mr. Phillips, by now, his fear was gone and was replaced with curiosity. That's so funny. I'll tell you what, Andrew Price and his two brats they're devil worshippers, he said. Ebenezer Krim. They talk to the evil spirits of dead people. Mr. Phillips stood back from his desk. His face appeared disappointed and a little annoyed by what Ebenezer had just told him. Let me get this straight. You're telling me that the respected writer and his family, who have just moved into the town in the graveyard that you wanted to buy, talk to ghosts? Well, how exactly do they do that, Mr. Krim? He asked. I don't know, replied Ebenezer Krim. They must have some strange powers or something. Oh, this just gets better. Not only do they talk to ghosts, but they're also psychic, said Mr. Phillips, making fun of Mr. Krim. Ebenezer leaned across the desk, the pale white skin of his face so close to Mike Phillips that he could see his own reflection in Ebenezer's eyes. I hope you're not making fun of me, said Ebenezer through gritted teeth. No, Mr. Phillips said nervously, stammering over his words. I just don't think that too many will believe your story. I mean, do you have any proof? Ebenezer stepped back from the desk. Proof, he said. What kind of proof? Well, anything that might back up your story, Mike Phillips replied, like photographs or taped conversation or something. How exactly did you find all this out? Ebenezer thought for a second before replying. Did you hear about the incident the other night with the headstones? He asked. Yes, said Mike Phillips. Well, it was the evil spirits the Price family are friends with They were responsible. Again, Mr. Krim, do you have any proof? Questioned Mr. Phillips. Of course I do, yelled Ebenezer Krim, who was getting irritated by the report across the desk from him. The youngest one. The girl. She told me in front of the other two. Mike Phillips took a step back and a deep breath. He didn't like the idea of telling Ebenezer Krim that his proof wasn't actually proof. Think of it like this, Mr. Krim. There are a lot of people in this town that find you very strange. Some people even call you spooky. Ebenezer's nostrils began to flare with rage. I'm not saying I do, said Mr. Phillips, trying to calm him down slightly, but some people do. Now, if I were to print this story in a paper that called Mr. Price and his family devil worshippers just because you say they are, no one is going to believe it. Let's find out, announced Ebenezer Krim. I can't. I need more proof than a person who wanted to buy their house saying he was told so by an 8-year-old girl. There's the headstone incident, said Ebenezer. Most people in this town already think that you knocked the headstones over, replied Mr. Phillips. Ebenezer slowly leaned over the desk to Mike Phillips, beads of sweat running down his face. Are you telling me, Ebenezer asked slowly, that you will print the story? I'm telling you that I can't, replied Mr. Phillips in a nervous, croaky voice. Well, if you won't help me get rid of these people, I'll have to do it myself, said Ebenezer Krim. He gave Mike Phillips a long, evil stare before turning and walking out of the office. As Ebenezer left, Mr. Phillips sat down on a chair and gave a loud sigh. He hoped that this was the last he would ever see from Ebenezer Krim. Good luck, Mr. Price, Ebenezer whispered. You're going to need it. I'm debating if I want to read half of this story now and half of this later, but I genuinely feel like we could finish this in like an hour. Because it's not that long. We are actually halfway through. We got 42 pages left. 48 pages left, actually. Fuck it. Chapter 6. Run. It felt like the first time that Andrew had seen the sun since they moved into their new house. He'd spent all morning working on his new book and decided it was time for a break. As he wandered into his backyard, he glanced at the sky above him. It was a clear blue without a cloud in sight. It's about time, he thought. We've had nothing but dark clouds, rain, thunder, and lightning every day for the past week. The ghost hadn't showed up all day. As Andrew sipped his cup of coffee, he hoped that they were keeping out of trouble, which is difficult for 4 friendly ghosts with a lot of spare time on their hands. Andrew reclined in the lounge chair, picked up his newspaper, and relaxed in the warm morning sunshine. Within minutes, he had dozed off. Jamie used to joke about his father's ability to sleep at any time of the day. Even if he'd just woken up from a good night's sleep, he could fall asleep again within minutes. It's a dad thing, Paula says. If he didn't fall asleep all the time, he wouldn't be a normal dad. Of course, Jamie would argue that he has never been a normal dad. Ah! A scream seemed to pierce Andrew, waking him up in an instant. As he jumped to his feet, still half asleep, he spun around in a desperate attempt to figure out where that scream had come from. The scream was unmistakable. It was Wolfie. It wasn't just the scream that woke him up, but a deep rumbling sound that seemed to be getting louder. As Andrew looked up, he could see what was making the loud rumbling. The blue skies had turned gray, and there, racing toward him, was a large black cloud that rolled across the sky, getting closer and closer and louder and louder. And with it came the terrified screams of Wolfie, Count Vanya, Mummy, and Lex Killian. From out of nowhere, Count Vanya flew through the wall around the graveyard across the backyard to Andrew. "He's coming after us!" he screamed. "Who's coming after you?" Andrew asked. Before he could answer, Lex Killian came screaming through the wall, closely followed by Mummy. As they ran across the yard, Lex dropped his head and Mummy fell over his bandages. "He's right behind us!" shouted Mummy. Yelled Mummy. "What's going on?" asked Andrew again. "There's no time to explain," said Count Vanya. "Just get inside quickly." As they ran toward the back door that led into the kitchen, Wolfie's screams could be heard in the distance. "Run, Wolfie, run!" yelled Lex Killian as Andrew followed the ghost inside. Andrew slammed the door closed and bolted it. What about Wolfie?" asked Mummy. "How will he get in?" "The same way he always does. He'll run straight through it," answered Andrew, running to the window. "Tell me the truth right now," he continued. "What have you done and who is chasing you?" "We haven't done anything," shouted Count Vanya. "It's Ebenezer Krim. He's after us." "He has a big machine and he's trying to suck us into it." "Oh, hold on. He has a big machine and he's trying to suck us into it," said Mummy. Just then, across the grass, they could see Wolfie. By now, the clouds that raced across the sky were above the house. As Wolfie sprinted to the door, Andrew noticed that something behind the wall was sucking everything toward it. The trees in the yard were bent backwards by the suction of the powerful vacuum, their leaves getting ripped off the branches. And Wolfie was being pulled back across the grass toward whatever it was. "Keep running, Wolfie!" screamed Andrew. "Keep running!" It was as though Wolfie was running and getting nowhere, but slowly he made it to the door. As he did, the door flew open from inside the kitchen, and the rest of them could see Wolfie's paw, followed by his head. Mummy ran to him, grabbed him by the ears, and yanked him inside, forcing both of them to fall to the floor. Andrew turned and looked back at the window. Things were calming down. The trees had returned. Oh, there's a picture on the next page. Hold on, I'm gonna send it to the Discord. This is a fun little page. Here we go. Another page for the Discord, Cappy. Jade! Hi, Jade. Thank you so much for the follow, DJ Corndog. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the first time chat. Hello, Jade. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for the posture check and the stretch. Oh my lord. Hold on. I'm trying to send a picture to my Discord. We are currently reading a story called Creepers, a series called Creepers. We are reading book 6 called The Grave Digger. We are halfway through the story. Welcome in, welcome in. Hi, hello. If you're new here, my name is Cosmo and I'm your friendly local interdimensional space witch. I hope you had an amazing stream today, Jade. Let me shout you out. Hold on. Shh. I'm doing this one-handed because I have the book in my hand. Excuse me, what did you play? Oh my god, what did you play, Jade? I did it. Cult of the Lamb? Ooh, I have that game. I need to play it. We're getting closer to being done with the book. I wish I could like count the page. 63 to 104. Almost 40. I have a follower named after you. Oh, I thought you meant on your Twitch account. I was like, oh, gee, Jade. Don't kill them. Don't kill them off, Jade. Please. Kill me first. Hell yeah. Guys, go follow Jade. She's so sweet. But yes, it's lovely to know. I'll have to kill No Chew first. She has she has no good traits. How's the book so far? It's interesting. I think we're getting into the more interesting part, the spooky part of the book, so to speak. Hasn't been bad so far. Very dun dun dun. But yes, I found this book series at the dollar store. So I bought every book that they had so I can read it on stream. I'm trying to see if I can finish it within the hour, which I think we should because we only have 41 chapters left. I mean, not chapters, 41 pages left. Not chapters. I'm just dumb. No, I swear. It's not a big book. It's literally the size of average, like, Goosebumps book, maybe even smaller. One of those, like, not young adult, those preteen chapter books. Those, like, chapter books that you read in, like, 4th grade. They're not that long, I swear. The story's only 104 pages. So we're getting there. We're on chapter 6 now. So, yes. But, Jade, of course, if you need to do some post-stream care, of course, feel free to go skedaddle. Make sure to stretch your bones, drink some water, use the bathroom if you need to. But yes, to everybody who's in my raid, who isn't not in my raid, who raiders, that goes for you too. But yes, we are reading The Grave Digger by Edgar J. Hyde. Oh my god, this is a part of the Creeper series. So far, the family has moved into a graveyard and they can see ghosts, and they are friends with a werewolf, a headless ghost, a vampire, and a mummy. So right now, the guy who is the gardener in the graveyard, he is coming after them. He is trying to basically kill their ghost friends. So here we are. Okay, where did the beginning of that sentence go? The trees had returned to their normal shape, and only a few things were being sucked through the air and down behind the wall. Then suddenly, there was a silence. Andrew could hear, "Hi, Zaf, what do you want?"
Hi.
"Hi."
How's it going, neighbor?
"Uh-huh, I'm busy."
Oh, I get that, right? We're all busy nowadays. I wanted to see if I could borrow a cup of sugar,
"Okay, let me go get it."
Thank you, thank you. Who's this little guy? What's your name, little guy?
His name is Cappy. I think
Oh, he's
he's
adorable.
I think he's asleep, like genuinely. Either that or
You think he
he's
did that spell asleep?
it's either that or he's so fucking locked in on COD Zombies.
That's fucking hilarious, to be honest. He popped into my chat. It was like, change the channel or the category. And I was like, no, because I'm just playing a demo and I don't want people to think I'm like full grinding this game.
Oh, you're streaming right now? I didn't know you're streaming right now.
Yeah, that's how you popped in.
What the hell? I'm on your chat right now. Hello, Zap Chat.
My stream can't hear you. I made sure they couldn't just in case.
What the hell? What the hell? Hold on.
Oh my god, no way.
Bam. But yes, here we
What
are.
the hell?
Yeah.
Thank you, Space Cat. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're almost on chapter 7. Yes, of course. I posted pictures of like
Did
the
you start like off the rip, like chapter
chapter
0,
1.
chapter
Yeah,
1?
yeah. We're like we've got we've got 41 pages left. I want to get done in the hour.
Wow, and here I am to ruin that goal for you.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I mean, shut your ass up.
Man, what the fuck, man? Come on, man. That's so funny. I wonder if Cappy actually fell asleep.
He hasn't said anything in a while. I don't know if he's still playing COD Zombies.
Fucking, I'm sorry. I had faced some frustration because this Melee Kaliki Maka looking motherfucker Sue sent me a photoshopped picture of Pedro Pascal's head on Henry Cavill's body and called him Henry Pascavel. I fucking hate this motherfucker. But yeah, thank you, neighbor, for the sugar. I appreciate it. By the way, have you ever read If You Give a Mouse a Cookie?
Yes.
So I also need a couple like eggs if you can spare me those, They're like $500 an egg right now. Times are hard.
What if I like slammed the door in your face, aka disconnected you from the VC?
It's your home. I would understand that, but I think the HOA would get a letter for sure.
The HOA.
Not from me, of course.
What the
Alright,
fuck?
I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
Bye, Cosmo Stream. I hope you guys are enjoying the story.
Bye.
Bye. Hold on. Can you never mind. I wanted to scream at Cappy just to see if he was asleep, but I don't want to hurt your ears or Chad's ears. Bye-bye.
No, he's here.
He's...
We thought you were
Where
asleep.
have you been? Where the hell have you been at, Loca?
I've been here.
You knocked the fuck out, didn't you? Yeah, it sounded like you just woke up.
Not really.
Did you like lock the fuck in
Shit yourself.
zombies?
Did I who?
Shit yourself.
God, I wish.
What the fuck? You freak?
It must be very freeing. Listen, not a worry
Nobody's
in the
stopping
world.
you, Cappy.
Cappy said return to
My
toddler.
mom's stopping me. She's gonna beat the hell out of me. Sigh.
she's kind of valid for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. Just because I can don't mean I should.
Tell him.
This is true. You missed me being a fucking like dickhead neighbor.
Oh my god, I hear
Holy
it.
shit. I don't think stream heard it, but if
I
they
heard
did,
him.
hilarious. Yeah,
I
so did
heard
I.
that. That was
Motherfucker
funny.
just crashing out.
It's always so beautiful when you hear it because it's never loud, but it's just faint enough. So it's like, oh damn, it must be loud as fuck.
Yeah.
Poor forehead.
Poor forehead.
Poor forehead.
Poor forehead.
Poor
Poor
forehead.
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 Poor forehead.
Poor forehead.
Ew. I don't like this game anymore.
I'm trying to think about the thing.
Think about the thing somewhere else. I got a story to read.
Yeah, no, but it involves you. That's why.
He gonna tell me a dumbass joke.
A dyslexic man walked into a brawl.
There it is.
To a bra. That was good. I like that.
Shut up. There you go. Anyway. Then suddenly there was silence. Andrew could hear his own breathing in his ears. He turned and looked at the others. By now, Wolfie was on his feet and stood with his back to the open door, puffing and panting. Outside, the daylight was slowly leaving, being replaced by darkness. It looked as though someone was dimming the lights. A familiar, evil face appeared above the wall. It was Ebenezer Creme. His long, pale face looked even more menacing than it did before as he climbed to the top of the wall, hoisting a long black machine up beside him. The machine itself looked no more dangerous than a normal vacuum, except it had a few more lights and made a much louder noise. Andrew guessed that it had to be the machine Ebenezer Creme was using to suck everything up. What happened out there? Asked Andrew, turning to the rest of them. We were on our way here, replied Count Vaniam, when all of a sudden he appeared before us, waving that machine and shouting how he was going to get us. And you weren't causing trouble? Asked Andrew. No, we were minding our own business, replied Wolfie. Do you think he saw you the same way Jamie, Paula, and I can? No, he's just the same as other humans. He can only see us for short periods of time. I know you're in there! Shouted from the darkness outside. Ebenezer Creme was sitting on top of the wall holding his machine. How do you like my little homemade ghost killer? He asked, patted the machine. Quite powerful, isn't it? Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm trying to push my chair forward. The cords. The voices. I just hit my knee. Hi, Supreme.
No, your knee. Take care of your knee.
No. Quite powerful, isn't it? He laughed. Even his laugh sounded evil, like a witch's deep cackle. Wolfie slammed the door shut. That man's... Oh, hold on. We gotta hit this with ultimate accuracy. That man scares me, said Mummy. Andrew looked around the kitchen at the others. They were in agreement with Mummy. It seemed the only person who wasn't afraid of Ebenezer Creme was Andrew. What do you want, Mr. Creme? Shouted Andrew through the window. It's quite simple. I would like all of the ghosts to come out here one by one. Why do you want them to come out? Asked Andrew. Do you want to talk to them? No, Mr. Price, Mr. Creme replied. I don't want to talk to them. I want to destroy them. Wolfie, Count Vanya, Mummy, and Lex Killian all looked at each other. No one said anything, but they were all thinking the same thing. and they couldn't hide it. They were terrified. In that case, Mr. Krim, they won't be coming out, yelled Andrew. Mr. Krim didn't seem bothered. That's okay, he replied. I can wait. I can wait all night if I had to. Andrew turned to the others and said, Don't panic, he's bluffing. He'll be gone in a couple of hours. Lex Killian went to speak, but as always, he only managed to spit out some salt water on the floor. Sorry, he murmured. I'm not so sure myself. Mr. Ebenezer Krim seems very determined to sort of chap. Well, Andrew replied, you'll just have to stay in the house. Stay here until he decides to leave. How long do you think that will take? Asked Mummy. As long as it takes, Andrew answered. It was daylight on Jamie's face. It was the daylight on Jamie's face that evidently woke him. He turned his sleepy head around the kitchen to see his father. To see his father sleep on the chair. Paul asleep on the table. That's so funny. And the ghost asleep anywhere there was space. Jamie and Paula had arrived home from school the previous day to find themselves in the middle of a standoff between their house and Mr. Krim. Jamie got up from the table and walked to the window just in time to see Ebenezer Krim down from the wall and drag his machine away, across the grass behind him and up the hill. As he reached the top of the hill, he turned and stared back at Jamie. Although it was only for a few seconds, to Jamie, it felt like hours. Even though he was far away, Jamie could still make out his evil grin as he turned and walked over the hill. No doubt we'll be seeing you again, Mr. Krim, thought Jamie. What? Thought Jamie. Him? Oh, I overturned the page and I was confused. Chapter 7. The Gravedigger. Ebenezer Krim didn't know he was being watched, as he sat in his own dirty living room covered in dust and flooded with mice scrambling across the floor, running into every nook and cranny in the walls. He was completely unaware that across from him at the table was a ghost. It wasn't called Vanya or Mummy or Lex Killian or Wolfie. This was the ghost that Ebenezer hadn't seen before and couldn't see now. The ghost had long, skinny white fingers, a long, thin body, and a wrinkly, scarred face with black holes where his eyes should be. Ebenezer was polishing his machine, getting ready to destroy some ghosts like he had tried to the previous night, when he heard some scratching noises coming from the other side of the table. He stopped what he was doing immediately and listened. The ghost that he couldn't see got up from the table across from him and floated across the table toward him, stopping inches from his face. Ebenezer Krim knew that something was there, but he wasn't sure what exactly. Then he heard it. The scratching began again. The ghost was dragging his long fingernails across the table in front of him, marking the wood. Ebenezer looked at the table, at the long, thin scratches that were appearing on his table. He knew that somewhere in front of him was a ghost. One yank by Ebenezer on the chain and his sucking machine roared to life. He kicked back his chair and swung the tube toward the ghost in front of him and flipped the switch. Broken plates and cups started flying around the room, along with pictures, ornaments, and anything that wasn't screwed down. It was all being sucked into the air and down the long black tube Ebenezer held in his hand. Time to die, Mr. Ghosty! He screamed at the top of his lungs as most of his living room began to disappear inside of the machine. Even after he switched it off, it took a couple minutes for the room to settle. Ebenezer stood in the middle of the room, panting and wheezing as sweat dripped off the end of his pointy nose. His face had a horrible grin on it. This was the first time Ebenezer had used the machine on a ghost, and he was sure it had worked. Then he heard the same scratching noise he heard before, but this time it was behind him. Now Ebenezer Crim was angry. And now there's another there's another picture that I'm going to post in the Discord. So keep your eyes peeled for the Discord for more images. Off you go. We will keep reading. We're getting closer to the end of the story. I'm going to rip you into little pieces and kill you! He screamed as he spun the machine around and once again flipped the switch. Before the machine had a chance to start up, Ebenezer was flung across the room, banging off the wall and falling on the floor. He staggered to his feet. Where are you? He yelled. In a flash, the ghost appeared in front of him, frightening him so much that he staggered back and fell down. Don't even think about using them. Oh, whoops, there's the ghost talking. Don't even think about using that machine again, the ghost said to him. Who are you? Oh, who are you? Asked Ebenezer. I'm an old employee of this graveyard, the ghost replied. I used to be the grave digger. Ebenezer got to his feet again. What do you want from me? He asked. I want you to help me get rid of the prices, the gravedigger replied. Ebenezer sat down, not taking his eyes off the ghost for a second. Although he hated ghosts, he was beginning to hate Jamie and his family even more. Go on, said Mr. Crim. Now he was curious to hear what the ghost had to say. One thing I noticed yesterday, began the gravedigger, was how much you managed to scare the Price family. I thought nothing could scare that family. Certainly not ghosts. Were you there yesterday? Asked Ebenezer. Because I never saw you. You never saw me because I never wanted you or the Prices to see me, continued the gravedigger. But the Prices can see all ghosts, said Ebenezer. I know, said the gravedigger. They would have to be able to see me. They would have been able to see me had I not learned how to hide. You only see me if I want you to see me. Well, what about the other ghosts? Surely they can see you. Yes, they can see me, he replied, but I can also turn myself into other ghosts, so I can appear as one of the ghost friends and no one would know the difference. Ebenezer sat for a few seconds thinking about what the gravedigger had just said, and then he asked, Why do you want to get rid of the Price family? The gravedigger floated toward Ebenezer Crim. The reason I want to get rid of them, he began, is because ever since they moved into that house, they made my afterlife miserable. Things used to be so peaceful before they came. Ebenezer Crim nodded in agreement. At last he had someone who thought like him on his side. If you want to get rid of those 4 ghosts that live with the Prices, don't waste your time with silly machines. All you have to do is get rid of the Prices. The ghosts will follow them anywhere, said the gravedigger. But, Ebenezer interrupted, don't the Prices look for evil spirits like you and try to put them to rest? Let me worry about that, replied the gravedigger. So, what do you say? Are you going to help me get rid of them? Ebenezer looked at him with evil eyes and said, What if I don't help you? The gravedigger moved closer to Ebenezer, right up to his face, and said, If you don't help me, I'll get rid of you too. For the first time in his life, Ebenezer Crim felt scared. How are you going to get rid of them? He asked. It's quite simple. We'll either scare them out or we'll throw them out, said the gravedigger. As Ebenezer watched the gravedigger laugh at the thought of it, he knew that this was the beginning of very horrible things to come. Chapter 8. An Appearance. Jamie Price, will you please pay attention and stop staring out the window? Jamie's teacher yelled at Jamie's teacher for the fourth time that morning. Excuse me. Jamie always did have trouble concentrating in school, and biology class wasn't any exception. Jamie turned to face his teacher and murmured, "Sorry." His teacher accepted his apology and turned back to the rest of the class. Jamie turned back to the window and looked at the students in the class outside. Jamie was more than spooked by what had happened over the past couple days. The ghosts he could handle, but an evil person like Mr. Krim was a different story. Paula was the same. She told Jamie on the way to school that morning that she had a feeling something bad was going to happen. Jamie told her it was just her imagination, but he didn't tell her that he had the same feeling. As Jamie watched the students outside, a tall, dark figure on the opposite end of the soccer field caught his eye. As soon as Jamie realized who it was, his blood ran cold. It was Ebenezer Krim. Ebenezer started walking toward Jamie, his evil stare fixed on him. Jamie's heart started to beat faster. He could feel it beating hard inside his chest. He turned to look at his teacher, but she had her back to him and was writing on the board. Jamie looked back at Ebenezer Krim. He was so close that Jamie could see the evil grin on his face. "Jamie Price, for the last time, will you please pay attention?" yelled his teacher at him. "Please, there's a man looking at me through the window. It's Ebenezer Krim." The rest of Jamie's class gasped out loud. Every other kid in his class knew who Ebenezer Krim was, and so did his teacher. She hurried toward Jamie's desk and stopped when she was beside him. "Where is he, Jamie?" she asked. He turned to the window, but Ebenezer was gone. "He was just there," said Jamie, pointing to where Mr. Krim had been. "Are you playing a prank, Jamie?" asked his teacher. "No, it's the truth," said Jamie, pleading his innocence. His teacher gave him a look of disbelief before walking back to the front of the classroom. Jamie turned his head and looked back out the window to where he had seen Ebenezer Krim. He was still nowhere to be seen. He was definitely there, Jamie thought. I definitely saw his face. Meanwhile, back at the house, Andrew was busy putting up some shelves in their living room. It had been a quiet morning for him with none of the other ghosts around. They were too busy keeping out of the way in case they saw Ebenezer Krim and his ghost-sucking machine. "Hello there," said a voice behind him. He turned around to see Count Vanya floating in the middle of the room. "Hi, Count Vanya. Where's the rest of the game hanging out this morning?" he asked. "I'm not really sure," replied the Count, looking in the opposite direction. "That's strange," thought Jamie's father. "They normally always know where the others are." "I'd like to have a word with you if I could, Count Vanya." "Oh," said Count Vanya. "Sure you can," replied Andrew. "What would you like to talk about?" "I'd like to talk about moving," said Count Vanya. I was wondering if we'd be moving again soon." Andrew put down his paper and turned around to face the Count. "Why?" "To tell you the truth, I don't like it here," said the Count. "I think everyone would be a lot happier if we just moved." "That is a little out of character for you," replied Andrew. "Normally, you settle in quite easily whenever we move." Count Vanya turned his back on Andrew. "I just don't like this house. Ever since we moved in, we've had nothing but trouble." "Does this have anything to do with Ebenezer Krim?" asked Andrew. "The other day, I really thought he was going to hurt me," replied the Count. Jamie's father could see that the Count was not acting at all like his normal self. Why don't you give it a couple more weeks? He suggested, at least until the whole Ebenezer Crim thing dies down a little. Count Vanya turned to look at Andrew, who had started hammering in the shelves again. Before he could answer him, Andrew hit the end of his finger with a hammer, causing it to bleed. Ah! Andrew screamed as the blood oozed under his fingernail. Are you all right? Replied the Count. Yes, I'm fine, replied Andrew. I just hit it with the hammer, that's all. Well, if you're okay, I'll be on my way. And the Count said the Count as he turned and made his way out the door. It wasn't until after he'd left that Andrew realized the Count didn't faint like he normally does when he sees blood. It must be because he's preoccupied, he thought. He doesn't seem to be his normal self. It was 100% the ghost pretending to be the other ghost. Da 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 da. Outside the door, Count Vanya hovered for a few seconds. Then almost instantly he was gone, and standing in his place was the evil gravedigger. See, I'm so smart. It wasn't Count Vanya at all. It was the gravedigger pretending to be him, which is why Count Vanya didn't faint when he saw the blood. The gravedigger looked back through the door at Andrew. One day soon, he thought. I'll get rid of you one way or another. Okay, we have 11 minutes of pre-roll. I'm going to run a quick 1 minute ad to see if a minute and a half ad to see if that'll be enough time to for me to finish this up. So I'm gonna run a quick ad break, chat. Here we go. Go get some snacks. We're almost done. Um I'm going to scream. Oh my god. I read so much.
Huh?
I was back this whole time and I was reading. I'm not going back and reading that.
Oh my god.
It was basically just... So Jamie and Paula were walking home from school and they think they saw Ebenezer Krim chasing them home. They were running and they called for their dad. And their dad came out and was like, there's nothing there. And there was nothing there. And so now it's the next day. We're on chapter... What's this chapter called? We're on chapter... Am I dumb? No. We're on chapter 9, Strange Breakfast. And they're discussing the things that happened yesterday. And yes, so all the ghosts are there except for Wolfie. Wolfie's being weird. Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you, Supreme. Oh my god, I would have been so mad if I finished the story and you guys are like, Cosmo, are you live? Okay.
That'd be pretty funny.
Okay, here we go. Last to join the breakfast group was Wolfie. He slipped in quietly and sat down at the table without saying anything, which was unusual for him because he normally had a lot to say, even first thing in the morning. Jamie walked toward the table with a plate that was piled high with rolls, sausages, and veggie burgers, made especially for Wolfie. "Dig in, everyone," said Jamie as he placed the plate in the middle of the table. "What's wrong, Wolfie? You look a bit down," said Lex Killian. "I'm just a little fed up," replied Wolfie. "With what?" asked Andrew. "With everything," he said. "This new house, Ebenezer Krim trying to catch us with everything." "Don't let it get you down, Wolfie," said Count Vanya. "You'll get used to it eventually." Andrew looked confused. Yesterday he had the same conversation with Count Vanya, and now he's acting totally different. "You really changed your mind," said Andrew to the Count. Now the Count looked confused. What do you mean?" asked the Count. "Well, I thought you wanted to move somewhere else like Wolfie." The Count looked at Andrew. "When did I say that?" he asked, looking even more confused. "Can I have one of those sausages, please?" shouted Wolfie, far louder than he needed to shout. It was though as he was trying to change the subject, like he had something to hide. "Of course you can," Paula replied. "You don't need to ask. You know that." Oh, they're gonna get caught up. Wolfie is going to eat a sausage, but Wolfie's a vegetarian, and the ghost doesn't know that. It's gonna be the gravedigger. Dun 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 dun. Jamie looked at Wolfie suspiciously. He knew that something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Wolfie stretched out and lifted a sausage off the plate from Paula. Without thinking, he bit into it and began chewing. "Wolfie!" Mummy yelled. "What?" he replied. "That's a sausage you're eating." "So what?" asked Wolfie. "So it's not a veggie burger." "Oh, so it's not a veggie burger," replied Mummy. "It's a vegetarian." Wolfie looked around the table at everyone, and everyone looked back at Wolfie. Jamie knew that something didn't add up, but before he could question it, Wolfie got up from the table and ran out, screaming out the door, yelling, "I think I'm going to be sick." Everyone except Jamie laughed at Wolfie's mistake. "Something's going on here," he said to the others at the table. "Yeah," replied Paula, laughing. "He just ate half a sausage, and now he's feeling sick." When Wolfie returned, it seemed like he was a different Wolfie. To Jamie, it was obvious he wasn't the same one that ran out the door. This Wolfie looked fine, and a little taken aback with all the attention he was getting. "Are you all right now?" asked Andrew. "I'm fine, thank you," answered Wolfie, looking confused. "Are you still feeling sick?" asked Lex Killian. "Sick?" asked Wolfie. "Why would I be feeling sick?" "Oh no," said Paula. "He's so sick that he's forgetting things now." The others laughed, even Wolfie laughed, although he wasn't sure what he was laughing at. Outside, Ebenezer Krim stood watching the house again. The gravedigger appeared beside him, looking just like Wolfie. It wasn't Wolfie that had taken a bite out of the sausage. It was the gravedigger pretending to be Wolfie. I think we need to take more drastic action. I think we need to take more drastic action, said the gravedigger in a deep, menacing voice. They're becoming suspicious now. I want them out of the house, that house, by tonight. Ebenezer Crim didn't say anything. He just turned and stared back at the house, an evil grin slowly spreading across his face. It wasn't long until he was laughing out loud. Chapter 10. Unexpected Help. The lightning cracked through the window in Paula's bedroom, forcing her to pull up the covers to just below her chin. Just like the first night they arrived, there was another power outage. This time, however, everyone was too tired to play hide and seek and instead decided to go to bed early. Paula didn't want to say anything to Jamie earlier as they climbed the staircase on their way to bed, but she had a horrible feeling that something bad was going to happen tonight. Maybe if she had said something, Jamie would have told her that he had the same feeling. Now she was counting the seconds between each bolt of lightning and roar of thunder. Paula wasn't happy in her new house, but she was trying to make the best of it for her dad, and so was Jamie. As she turned her head to the side with every bolt of lightning, she could see the rain running down the window pane in long, thin streams. Her eyes felt heavy, and she started to doze off. It wasn't so much a bang that woke her up, more so that something had moved at the bottom of her bed. As she slowly opened her eyes, she felt it again. The bottom of Paula's bed was lifting up and dropping back down onto the carpet. As she sat up, the front of her bed started to lift higher and higher and drop faster and faster. Then it suddenly just stopped. I know, thought Paula. It must be Wolfie or Mummy underneath my bed trying to scare me. Paula slowly crept to the bottom of her bed on her hands and knees, and as quick as she could, she pulled up her bedsheets and stuck her hand under the bed. Gotcha! She yelled, expecting to see one of her ghost friends, but there was no one under her bed. Where could they have gone? She thought as she sat back up. Then she felt it again. This time the bed lifted high off the ground and dropped back onto the floor with a heavy thud. Now Paula's really starting to get scared. If it's a ghost, why can't I see it? Who's there? She yelled across her room, but there was a silence. At first, Paula was so busy listening for noises that she didn't realize the front of her bed was slowly lifting again. Then it dropped straight onto the floor with a loud crash, and lifted again, and dropped again, and lifted, and dropped, and lifted, and dropped. Paula was screaming, Dad! Help me! She yelled over and over again until her door was kicked open. Instantly, her bed slammed down onto the floor. Her dad was standing in the doorway with Jamie behind him. What's wrong, Paula? He shouted as they raced to her bed. There's something under my bed, Dad, and I don't know what it is. I can't see it, she said. Jamie looked under her bed and saw nothing there. There's nothing under your bed, Paula, he said to his little sister. Andrew held Paula in his arms. You had a bad dream, Paula. That's all. Everyone has had bad dreams. This wasn't a bad dream, Dad, she said. It was real. The bed was lifting and dropping really fast. Her father looked into her tearful eyes and said, It wasn't real, Paula. It just felt real. That's all. Jamie looked under the bed again. Without raising his head, he said to his father, Dad, I really think you should come here and see this. Jamie's dad climbed down beside Jamie and peered under the bed. Jamie pointed to the marks on Paula's carpet that the leg on the bottom of her bed had made. There were lots of marks. Paula's bed had obviously been moved. "Paula, I don't want you to panic," said her dad, "but get out of your bed slowly and stand behind me." Jamie and his dad stood up and slowly made their way to the door with Paula. It was still dark in the room and very difficult to see where they were going. Every time there was a bolt of lightning, it allowed Jamie... What the hell? What do you mean ad starts in a minute? Hold on. I love Twitch's stupid ass errors. Truly. Okay, we're gonna keep going and snooze the ads. We're almost done. It allowed Jamie to see the whole room light up for a split second. As Jamie turned to his father and his sister, the bolt of lightning lit up something that was floating on the other end of the room. Jamie couldn't see what it was, but he knew it was getting closer. "Look out, Jamie!" yelled his father as he pushed Jamie out of the way onto the ground. As Jamie fell, he heard a smash, and his father landed on top of him. He could see that he had been knocked unconscious by a vase. Paula stood in the middle of the floor, screaming at the top of her lungs. All around her, things were falling off the walls, pictures, ornaments, and toys. "Jamie, help me!" she yelled. "I can't, Paula, I'm trapped! Dad's on my legs and I can't get them free!" he shouted back. In the middle of the havoc, Jamie was thankful to see Lex Killian. "I'll help you, Jamie!" he screamed as he tried to push Jamie's dad off his legs. Behind Jamie, Paula's bedroom's door was kicked open, and in the doorway stood Ebenezer Krim with the machine strapped to him. "Leave us alone!" Jamie yelled. He looked down at Jamie and Lex Killian on the floor, then over at Paula, who was crying on the floor in the middle of the room. "No one was supposed to get hurt, gravedigger!" screamed Ebenezer over the noise. "Get out of here, Krim!" roared a deep voice from the darkness of Paula's room. The bedroom door slammed closed again. Jamie could see Ebenezer Krim had his foot jammed in the door. He took off his machine and switched it on and threw it to Jamie. Jamie, use this!" he shouted. "What do I do?" asked Jamie. "Just pick it up, flip the switch, and point it at the gravedigger." Jamie stretched out his hand. He could barely reach the machine and had to push his father off his legs a little more before he finally managed to grab it. As he spun around with the machine, he could see two Lex Killians side by side. Holy shit! The one on the left shouted, "Jamie killed the other one. I'm the real Lex." Oh my god, this is how the book's gonna end? That is so funny. Wow. "No, Jamie," the one on the right shouted, "I'm the real Lex." Paula was still screaming in the middle of the floor. Jamie looked at one Lex, then the other, and couldn't tell them apart. "Do it, Jamie! Kill him now!" screamed the Lex on the left. Jamie spun the machine around to the other one. "I don't know which is which!" Jamie shouted to Mr. Krim. "Well, suck them both up!" he shouted. As Jamie prepared to turn the machine on, the Lex on the right tried to say something. As a bolt of lightning lit up the room, Jamie saw him spit up some salt water. Oh my god. "That's good enough for me!" he shouted as he flipped the switch and pointed it at the one on the left, sucking him inside instantly before he could try and get away. "Turn the machine off!" yelled the real Lex. And there's another image, so... Oh, wait, you can see the shadows. Okay. Okay, here we go. So you're gonna get another image in the Discord server, friends. Another image in the Discord. What did you do, Supreme? Did you zoom in on it? Okay, here we go. So you can see based on the shadow that the one on the left is the bad Lex. So I'm assuming Jamie sucked up the real one. Okay. We've got like 3 pages. Okay, here you go. Yelled the real Lex Killian, who was holding onto Paula's wardrobe to stop himself from being sucked inside. Oh my god. Jamie turned it off, and the room fell silent. Paula stopped screaming, and their father began to wake up. That Paula was screaming for like 5 minutes straight, and I think that's so funny to me. Jamie turned to Ebenezer Krim and said something he'd never thought he would say. Thank you. Chapter 11. This is our final chapter, guys. It's not even a chapter. It's literally like 2 pages. What the fuck? Okay. We're snoozing our ads again. Here we go. Chapter 11. Here we go again. That's the last of it, said Andrew as he strapped the final box to the roof of the car. Jamie and Paula were glad. Even though the gravedigger was gone, everyone was still relieved that they didn't have to live in that house anymore. Even the ghosts were relieved. No, she wasn't sleeping. She was awake. Oh, the dad? Do you mean the dad? Okay, yeah, dad was... No, he got freaking absolutely concussed. Even the ghosts were relieved. As a way of saying thank you to Ebenezer Krim for help saving their lives, Andrew agreed to sell them their house in the graveyard. As the car rolled out of the driveway for the last time, with Jamie, Andrew, and Paula inside, Jamie looked back over his shoulder to the house that was his home for such a short time. He wasn't sad he was leaving, he just wanted to have one last look. Ebenezer Krim stood at the gate, watching them leave. Even though he now owned the home he always wanted, he still wouldn't smile. He stood at the gate, staring after them. So, Dad, about this new house, said Paula. Where exactly is it? It's about a 2-mile drive from here, replied her father, and it's a surprise. Can't you tell us any more than that? Jamie asked him. I'll tell you one thing, he said. Your new house used to be an old church. An old church? Yelled Jamie and Paula together. Have you lost your mind? Asked Jamie. His father laughed, glancing at them in the rear-view mirror. He gave him that silly smile, winked, and said, Aw, come on, kids. Trust me. Jamie and Paula looked at each other in disbelief. Oh no, said Paula. Here we go again. We did it! Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. We finished! That was the end of the story, and they give us a little excerpt from book number 3, which is Pen Pals, but I'm not going to read that because we are on borrowed time. They give us 2 chapters of that story. Very, very, very interesting. We finished. I'm so proud of us. I think that took us about like 2 hours. Like, maybe an hour and a half? An hour and a half? I don't know. Because... Oh, no. About 2 hours is right, actually. But that was an interesting little book. That is about the same level as Creeper. It's very interesting, I will say. Cute, fun, interesting. Interesting to see the dad involved, a parent involved for once in the Goosebumps hauntings. I think there's only been like a very few amount of the times where the parents got involved with the hauntings in Goosebumps, but not to this degree. It was never ever to this degree. But yes, I do have more where that came from. We have 4 other stories to be read, and those are called The Scarecrow, Cold Kisser, Dr. Death, and Mirror Mirror. So, but there's also 5 other books in this franchise in this series that I need to find. Hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on them. I will take a look at the dollar store, see if I can find them. But that was an interesting read. Very fun, very silly, very not too bad. It's about pretty much on par with Goosebumps. Nothing crazy, nothing. It would make an interesting episode though. But yes. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Thank you all so much for listening to me read Creepers. Oops, Creepers, book number 6, titled The Grave Digger. We're going to use our last snooze because so I can wrap stream up and we go to bed. But yes, chat, that was Edgar J. Hyde's Creepers. And with that, I'm going to end stream. So yes, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Whether you are new here, hi, hello, my name is Cosmo, and I am your friendly look interdimensional space witch. I hope to see you again my next stream, whenever that is. I have not been streaming at a consistent schedule because I have a full-time job. So, if you want to keep up with more, if you are new here and you want to keep up with more of me, please join my Discord. That is where I'm most active on these days, especially on weekdays. But yes, thank you all so freaking much for hanging out with me for some tips and spooks. It was a very, very, very fun one. I love you all so freaking much. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in this big, big, beautiful planet. Hold on. Where is it? I love you all so. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure. Okay. I love you all so freaking much, and I will see you all next time. We are going to raid out into Mr. Curl, who's doing karaoke, I guess? I don't know. Let's just raid into Zaf. But yes, I'm trying to do a speedy outro because like I said, we're on borrowed time. Twitch wants to run an ad for me so bad. My Twitch isn't working. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you, Supreme. Okay. But yes, I love you so much. Make sure to drop a follow so you can get the notification when I go live next. But yes, I love you all so freaking much, and I will see you all next time. Make sure to stay in the raid for some channel points. I love you all so freaking much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Whether you're here for I don't know if I said it. Whether you're here for 5 minutes, the entire stream, or you just popping in for the first time, I love you all so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.